We donate profits from this channel to charity. Please help us help others by giving us a thumbs up or subscribing to our channel. Your support makes a difference.
So I brought in a special friend. You're probably tired of listening to me speak every year, but I'm going to do it again tomorrow. But I brought in a really good friend of mine, Mrs. Kim Mason. She was my next door neighbor growing up in Louisiana. And I think she has a very unique story and a very interesting story. And her success was defined by her tenacity and hard work. And I would like her to share her story with you. So, enough of me.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Mason.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to be here. Can you guys hear me in the back? Okay. I want to thank Coach Hicks and his entire team and Dr. Page and Dr. Brown for inviting me to be here. And my husband's with me over there in the striped shirt. And our friend Hunt is over here in the blue shirt. I'll share my story with you, but I'm going to try to do it pretty quickly and in a way that might be a little bit interesting and hopefully give you a couple of things that might help you along your road. I started working when I was 14. At 17, I owned my own business. And then as an adult, I've had 2 careers, one in makeup and skincare for 33 years, and then one with my husband in fitness, and that was for 7 years. I think of life as a ride. And my life has been an amazing ride so far, and it is certainly not going to be over anytime soon if I've got anything to do with it. So I kind of compare it to a ride. I'm thinking like riding a school bus. So how many of you have ever ridden on a school bus? All right, I have too. I think that there are 10 things that are like a school bus ride that can help you on your life's ride. The first thing is you've got to prepare for the ride. So can anybody tell me something you've got to do to prepare to get on the bus? Eat? Yes, indeed. Eat a good breakfast? Yes? Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that. How about you? Use the restroom? Absolutely. And way in the back. Yes. So I'm a big fan of preparing and planning. I make a list for everything. I prepare for everything. I've got a calendar. I make my list of what I've got to do, my chores, my dreams, my fitness goals, because I find that that has really helped me. They say that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So planning and preparing yourself is a big part of life. When I was 14, I was an awesome babysitter. And I wanted to make more money, and all the kids that were like 15 and 16, they started getting jobs. And I thought, well, I kind of want to make more money and get a job, but I wonder if I could babysit and find ways to make more money. So what I did is I kind of observed what was happening when I was babysitting. And I noticed that the parents, they would say, gosh, our house is a mess. The kids, I can't pick up after them. And I would notice that the moms always needed help before they went out getting ready. So I started offering like additional services. So when the kids go to bed, I'll clean the house. And I'll come early, maybe an hour early, and I'll do whatever you need me to do, set the table or help you get ready. And I really established myself as quite the hot babysitter in the neighborhood. I had babysitting a month in advance on my calendar. So if you wanted me to babysit, you had to sign up a month at a time. What would be the second thing on the bus, right? You board the bus, you gotta pick your seat. Front, back, who you're gonna sit next to. How many of you always run to the back? All right, who's the ones that like to sit up front? Yay, okay, me too. I like to sit where I can pay attention. I want to sit next to people that are gonna maybe teach me something or that I can have fun with. I don't want to sit next to people that are gonna distract me or get me in trouble. Picking a seat is kind of like picking a job in life. So if you think about picking jobs, you want to pick a job that you like, that you have passion for. You want to pick friends that are going to make you a better person. So I told you about my babysitting gig, right? Well, in high school, I loved makeup and I loved fashion and matching clothes. So I had a couple of retail jobs, but I did some research and I found out that there were companies that made makeup that would design it like specially for you, the colors you wanted, and then you could put your own label on it. So back then, you know, you're a kid, right? I didn't have that much creativity in my name. Mine was Cosmetics by Kim. And I started a makeup company, and I had a catalog, and I did classes, and I went to flea markets, and I sold makeup. And I borrowed all the money from my dad to start the company. And a year after I started it, I paid my dad back with interest. And I was written up in a magazine as a teenage entrepreneur. Do you know what entrepreneur means? What does it mean? That's right. All right. So number 3 on the bus is that it's okay to change seats. So how many of you sit in the same seat every day? Okay. Now, if the bus driver told you to do that, then that would be a good thing. But you need to think it's good to change seats sometimes, right? You meet somebody new. How many of you guys have met somebody new just since yesterday? Right. And you've enjoyed it, right? It's not too scary. It's fun to open yourself up to new things. Think about things in my life. I tried playing golf, and let me tell you, I was terrible. My husband will agree. It was not a good sport for me. It was very frustrating. But then I tried running, and I liked it. And I started signing up for some 5Ks, so that's like a 3-mile race, and I actually placed in my age group. And then I got encouraged by some of my friends, and I signed up for a half marathon. That's 13 miles. And I ended up running 6 of those. And then, thanks to Dr. Brown and Dr. Page, I got coerced into a marathon last year, and I completed a 26-mile run in one day. Thank you. So when you change seats and you try something new and you don't like it, you need to celebrate that. Because finding out something you don't like means you're that much closer to finding something that you love, and then you need to celebrate it. All right, number 4 on the bus. There will be bumps in the road along your life, right? So the bus might have to stop for road work or stop for a speed bump, but they still got to make it all the way to school, right? Well, my ride, I told you, has been amazing, and it definitely has, but it's had bumps. After I graduated from high school, I had a scholarship to college, but it didn't feel right for me. And so I love fashion. I told you I love makeup. I wanted to go to more like a trade school. So I went to a fashion merchandising school in Dallas, Texas. And it was a 2-year school, and I started it. And in the first year, I had a really bad experience. And so I had to get my dad to come get me, and I had to go back home. And that was hard, because that was a bump in the road that messed me up. I was a planner. I had it all planned, 2 years of school, then I was gonna open a store, and I had myself on a rhythm. But I went back home, and I had to figure out that bump in the road. So I got a job. And I got a job with something I loved, which of course was makeup. Anybody ever heard of Clinique?
Yes.
All right, so I worked for Clinique. I worked at the department store behind the counter. I helped people to pick out skincare and do their makeup. And I was really good at it. And then I had to give myself a little bit of time to get over that bump in the road and figure out what I was gonna do. So number 5 on the bus ride is sometimes the route changes. Would you guys agree that there is more than one way to get from your house to school? Okay, so there's more than one way to do everything in your life. So you are the driver of your life. And as a driver of my life, that experience that I just shared with you, I had to figure out a new route because the one that I thought was going to be perfect didn't work out. So I found out that with Clinique, if I worked really hard and I told everybody that I wanted to grow, that I could. So I started working for Clinique. Whew, it was a long time ago, 1986. None of you were even born then. But I started working there and I did a good job, and they offered me an opportunity to be a manager, and then they offered me an opportunity to be manager of the managers. And so I just kept working hard and growing, and I quickly realized that this new route was gonna be okay. So number 6 on the bus is that sometimes you need to find somebody else to sit next to. Moved 12 times. I went from New Orleans to North Carolina to Charlotte to Raleigh to Florida, back to Raleigh to Texas, and I ended up in New York City. And I ended up I started behind the counter putting makeup on people. And I ended up in New York City running the entire sales organization for all of the United States and Canada. So if I wouldn't have been willing to change seats when people gave me that opportunity, I would never have had the opportunity to be that successful within that company. Now, number 7 is you gotta be kind to the new kid. You know how scary it is when you get on that bus for the first time and everybody's kind of staring at you as you enter the bus and nobody says, like, sit next to me. Well, if you're gonna be successful in life, you've got to be kind to the new kid. Sometimes you're the new kid and sometimes somebody else is. But you need to work really hard every single day to do something kind for somebody, to try to make somebody smile. You think you can do that? I think you can too. Number 8, you gotta respect the bus driver. The bus driver is there to get you safely to school, to make sure that you're okay, and that bus driver deserves your respect. Throughout your life, you'll have a lot of drivers. Coach Hicks is a driver. Your parents, your teachers, maybe your minister. Lots and lots of drivers, and they're there to mentor you, to give you guidance, sometimes to push you, to make you better. Your friends could help be drivers because if your friends are great friends, they're gonna push you to be the best person you can be, and you're gonna do it back. And then you're gonna get to a point in your life where you're a driver, you're a mentor. My husband and I started a fitness business, and it grew really fast. We had 7 locations. Anybody ever heard of Orange Theory Fitness? No. Well, it's fitness studio where you're helping people to get in the best shape that they can be in. And we had 7 locations and 85 employees. So we were the drivers, and we had to make sure that all of our 85 employees were sitting on the right seat of the bus, because that's the only way that our bus was gonna go smoothly down the road and be successful. Now, number 9 on this list of 10 things from the bus is you have to know when to get off the bus. You need to pay attention. You don't want to miss your bus stop. And in life, you need to pay attention because sometimes you've got to get off and do something different. Get on to the next stop. Some of the rides of your life you're going to be the only one in the car, so you only have to worry about yourself. You can make decisions that only affect you. But then there's going to be times in your life on your ride that your bus is full. You might have a spouse or kids, and then you have to make decisions that are the best thing for the entire car load. Sometimes you got to decide that it's time for a new job. My husband and I met 22 years ago, and I lived in New York City. Well, we met before that, but I moved to New York City and he was in Texas, so we were far apart, right? And then we decided we were going to get married. And when you're married, it's a good idea not to live in New York and Texas. It's better to live in the same state at least, right? So I decided it was time to give my notice to Clinique after 23 years of being with that company. And it was time to start something new. And so I moved back to Texas. And luckily, because I had so many awesome drivers on my ride at that point, I could call an old driver of mine and talk to him about what I could do next. And he ended up offering me a job with another makeup company. And I ended up being with them for 10 years. So changing that was a great thing for me. And then I decided, time to change again. And my husband and I wanted to go into business together. So we started up that fitness business. So you are gonna know there's gonna be signs in your life that say that it's time to make a change. It's time to get off this ride and start a new one. The last thing is you gotta enjoy the ride. So if there's the one thing I could really tell you is that you have to enjoy the ride of your life. It will have bumps, it will get hard, but if you always try to look for things that you love and then kind of merge what you love to what you do, you won't even feel like you have a job. I can honestly tell you, with all the jobs I've had and all these careers, every single day I woke up and excited because I loved what I did. Doesn't mean there's not a bad day, but I loved it. And if your passion can collide with what you do, you will always love what you do. If you look for friends that make you better and you make them better, you will have friends for the rest of your life. If you're kind every day, that you do something kind and you give back, you're going to feel fulfilled. If you take care of yourself, think about a bus, right? A bus does not run without gasoline. And they've got to check the oil and they got to get under the hood every now and then and check it, right? You have one body, one of you. You have to take care of it. You have to eat right. You have to give it fuel. You have to exercise. You have to have dreams. You've got to take care of yourself. And you've got to take some time to rest and rejuvenate. Think about things that you want to do. My husband and I have a big board at home, and it's a map of the whole world, and we have pins in it of everywhere we want to go and pins of everywhere we've been. I've been lucky enough, I've been to all 50 states, and I've been to 6 of the 7 continents. And I'm planning on going. Antarctica is the last one I got left, and we're gonna go, because that's one of my dreams. I love to travel. Your dreams might be completely different, but have them and write them down so that you can start working them off over time. It's gonna take you the whole ride of your life, but you wanna have those dreams so you have things to live for. Remember, let's go over the 10 things. Say them after me. Prepare for the ride.
Prepare for the ride.
Pick your seat wisely.
Pick your seat wisely.
It's okay to change seats.
It's okay to change seats.
There will be bumps in the road.
There will be bumps in the road.
Sometimes the route changes.
Sometimes the route changes.
Sometimes you need to find someone new to sit next to.
Sometimes you need to find someone new to sit next to.
Be kind to the new kid.
Be kind to the new kid.
Respect the bus driver.
Respect the bus driver.
Know when to get off.
Know when to get off.
Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
I wish you all the ride of your life.